Hello, everybody. Hello. How are you? I am so excited to be with all of you today because I want to talk about something that is so important. It's the scale, it's your weight, it's the number. It is such an important area for us to talk about because listen, how many of you are going through the day and the number is dictating your mood, your life, how you feel about yourself, how you, what you make it mean? It just does so much to our psyche. And I really want to dive into this today because it is so imperative that you see how it has impact on you and what its impact is on you, because it should not dictate your life. Okay. And I know it is for some of you. I know some of you are making it mean so much more than what it should mean. So welcome, everybody. Welcome. I am Marna Thall. For some of you who do not know me, I'm Marna Thall. I have been helping people lose weight from a non-diet approach for over 23 years. That's a long time. I've been doing this for a very, very long time. And the reason why is because I wanted to make a difference. I learned how to lose weight by starting to think differently and eat differently. And the only way I learned it was by starting to interview the naturally thin, those people who just made it look easy and effortless. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't diet. So maybe, just maybe, I could learn what to do, how to do it. And they taught me so much. But then I realized, oh my gosh, there's a big difference here. There's a difference between the naturally thin and me, and that I'm an emotional eater. I turn to food for emotions. So that's when I had to start doing my own work on how do you start to heal and how could I really start to heal my emotional eating. So then I put these two together and here we are 23 years later, which is so cool and so awesome. So I am so happy to be with so many of you today. Well, we're going to talk today about the scale. The scale. I mean, it's an ugly topic unless you like what you see on the scale, right? So here's what I want to talk to you about. I'm going to give you tools. I'm going to give you things that I want you to know. And I may just look at my notes here and there because I want to make sure that I'm going through everything. But first, let me say hi to all of you. Hi, Miss Leah. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Janie. Hi, Miss Karen. Hi, Laura Beth and Kathleen. So happy, Janie. I love seeing you here. So many of you on the phone. Hello, Regina and Kay. Hi, Monica. Denver and Fort Collins and California and Texas and New York, and so many of you from all over. Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad this is a topic that you want to look at and explore with me around the weight and your scale. So let's start off by really looking at the scale. When you see a certain number, many of you, what I'm seeing both in the 30-day challenge, in my inner circle, private clients that I'm working with, I'm seeing that you're attaching your identity to the scale, to that number. You make it mean, this is who I am. I am 185 pounds. I am 220 pounds. I am 152 pounds. You create your identity to reflect back whatever the scale is saying. And if the scale is going down, whoo, I'm good. I'm great. I'm doing well. I am powerful. However, what I want you to think about, the scale a little bit differently. The scale shouldn't be a reflection of your identity. You are so much more than your weight. So much more than the number you see in front of you. The number you see in front of you does not reflect your personality, how amazing you are, what you're good at, what you do as a career, how intelligent you are. It does not reflect any of that. Okay? And I know that some of you are making it mean a certain thing. All right, sorry, let me just get my notes. Okay? So, I want you to be aware of this. the number, whether it goes up or down, is only a reflection, and you might want to write this down. The number on the scale, if it's going up, is a reflection that your behavior and your thoughts are needing a tweak. That's it. The scale is a reflection of what your thoughts and behaviors are. That's it. Not who you are, not your identity, not who you are. It's a reflection of some behaviors, and not all your behaviors, and not all your thoughts. It's a small little group of thoughts and behaviors that need adjusting. That is it. So just let that sink in for a second. It's a few thoughts and behaviors that need adjusting. Can you see and feel how relieving it is? What the difference is there? To just own that, okay, yeah, there's some thoughts and there are some beliefs and there's some actions that I'm taking that are not serving me, and that's creating weight gained. Not your identity. It's not your identity. It's not who you are. It's just some beliefs and some behaviors. So that then, when I started to really get that and see that, it's like when I can step on the scale, I can look at the number and go, oh, there's either some habits, some things that I'm doing that are not working, or some beliefs some thoughts that I'm engaging in that are not working, that I need to adjust. Not that I'm a horrible person, not that I'm terrible, not that I'm lazy, not that my whole life is horrible, not that I should isolate. It doesn't have to mean all of that. And some of you look at this number and you make it mean so much more than what it means. So I want to talk to you today about giving you some tools to help lessen this. Listen, I understand if you want your weight to go down. Of course, that's why you're here. I'm a freaking weight loss coach. Of course, that is why you're here. But I also want to put it into perspective. And I want you to see that it is a number and it shouldn't rule your life. It just means that there are some behaviors and that there are some thoughts that need to be adjusted. That is it. That is it. Okay? So, one, let's talk a lot about what you are saying to yourself, how you are speaking to yourself, it matters. If you see the scale and you say to yourself, I'm terrible, I'm horrible, I've such a failure, I can't believe what I'm doing, yada, 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 it is not going to serve you. How you speak to yourself as you lose weight matters. If you are not speaking kindly to yourself now, do you think it's going to get better when you're at your desired weight? It's not. It's not. It may change slightly. But the way you speak to yourself as you are losing weight matters. Telling yourself that you can do it, telling yourself, okay, this is interesting information to see that my scale is going up. What is going on inside of me from a behavior standpoint, from a thought standpoint that needs some adjusting? That's the conversation I want you to have with yourself as you're watching the scale go down or go up. It's looking at what is it that you're saying. When you start being kinder in your head with your thoughts and your feelings and your ways of showing up for yourself, then what it will mean is that all of a sudden you have a different relationship with yourself, a more compassionate, more loving relationship. Here's oftentimes what I see. You start losing weight, 3, 4 pounds, 5 pounds down. But you never celebrate it. You never tell yourself how awesome you are for losing the weight. And then you know what happens is you're like, yep, I still got 55 pounds more. You're focused on the 55 more pounds versus celebrating the 5 you just lost. And think about this. Think about if you were going to watch, if I was going to train a kid, if I wanted a kiddo to lose weight. And I'm like, okay, here are the things I'm going to teach you because I can help you lose weight. There's no question about it. We'll start seeing your weight loss. And he steps on the scale, let's say this kiddo, she steps on the scale and I go, oh, you're down 5 pounds. But you know what? You have 55 pounds more to lose. 55 pounds more. So this is all right. But really, we've got to get you to where you need to go. You're doing great, but you know what? Let's keep going. Let's not focus on these 5. Let's focus on the 45 that you still have to go. It's never going to feel good to keep reinforcing in your head and in your body and in your mind what you haven't accomplished yet. That's never going to feel good. So instead, I want you to start noticing and celebrating when you see a pound go down. Celebrate the hell out of that pound. None of you see it as it's like 3,000 calories you didn't put in your body. 5 pounds is like, it's more than 15,000 calories that you've said that you are not putting in your body. It's amazing. It's amazing work when you lose a pound. It's amazing. So I want you celebrating and focusing on what is working versus what's not working, versus what you have left. How many times have you gone out, right? Have you gone out and you've gone, someone says, you look great. What are you doing? Oh my gosh, you look so good. I can tell you're losing weight. And you're like, you discount it. Or you say, yeah, it's all right, but I have 25 pounds more to lose. Yeah, it's been good. You don't celebrate. You don't take the compliment. You don't honor it. You're not letting it sink in here. And it's time to start allowing yourself to honor what is happening, to see the result and celebrate. If celebration is not happening as you are losing weight, when you get down to your ideal weight, I promise you are going to say things like, yeah, but my arms are still flabby, or this is this. You're going to look for the problems. You're going to look for the problem areas instead of celebrating all the way down and getting in the habit of loving the process, loving where and what you're doing, seeing what's happening in front of your eyes, noticing and telling yourself, good job for stopping when I'm satisfied. Good job eating when I'm hungry. Good job being mindful of the food that I'm putting in my body and how it makes me feel. Good job getting in front of late night eating, snacking, automatic eating, unconscious eating. Great job doing it this one time. Stop making yourself wrong, or stop making it belittle. Oh, it's just okay. Just a little bit. It doesn't matter. It matters. It matters. You matter. So watch that conversation in your head that's telling yourself it's small, it's little, it doesn't matter, or focusing on just the end goal without celebrating how you're moving towards that goal. Listen, I want you to have the identity as part of creating your identity as a lighter, healthier, more vibrant you. It's also about, what are you saying to yourself? I guarantee you're not like, oh, I'm this weight, but I still see some flab on my arms. No, you're saying, I've done awesome. I've kicked major butt. I feel amazing. Let's go dance. Let's go bike. Let's go do these amazing things in my life. Let's go live. So stop letting that number dictate your life, dictate your mood, and dictate whether you're good or bad. It's just simply not true. The number is a number, and how you decide to adjust your thoughts and behaviors as a result of that number is what matters. That's what matters. That tells you, okay, let's make a few tweaks. Let's focus on what we can continue doing that's working. Let's keep moving ahead and forging ahead and moving forward. That's what's fun, and that's what's inspiring, and that's what's motivating. But when you see a number and it's not what you like, or let's say you've been taking this amazing action and it is not reflective on the scale yet, does it mean that you haven't been taking amazing action? No, they are not congruent. Which is why I want all of you to have another way to measure yourself and measure your success. The scale will measure how much water you have, how much muscle that's there, how much fat. It will measure a whole slew of things. It doesn't give you the exact measure that you need. So I want you to have another measurement tool. I would like for you to also have a tool of using your clothes, a measuring tape. Find another way to measure your success. I cannot tell you how important this is. Here's why. So many times, I mean, I can count, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 times this year alone, my clients have said to me, oh my God, my clothes are falling off my body, but I haven't seen it reflect yet on the scale. And then weeks later, it reflects on the scale, and then their body shrinks down, and then that reflects on the scale. It is not congruent. Your clothes and the scale don't always match up. But if you're like, whoa, holy cow, my clothes are falling off of me, or oh my God, I see it on the measuring tape, what's happening? You will see it on the scale. So watch just having one measuring tool. I want you to have at least two. The scale and your clothes are an easy one. The scale and a measuring tape is another easy one. Just takes a little more time though than just noticing your clothes. What I like to do is when I was losing weight, what I really like to do is have one size a little bit smaller that I want to get into. And I just keep on a Friday, I would pick Friday, and every Friday I would choose to put on that shirt or put on those pants. For me, I'm bigger on the bottom, so I put on those pants to see how does that feel? How does that, am I moving towards what I want? And then that way I had two things to look at. I had the scale, but I also had the tool of my clothes. What happens if the scale is triggering you? So let's talk about that. You get on the scale and it triggers you and you feel like you should weigh yourself every single day. I get this question all the time. Should I weigh every single day? And let me just take it from the naturally thin standpoint. I'll tell you, some naturally thin people weigh every single day. Some do. Some naturally thin people weigh when they go to the doctors. They don't even own a scale. It's just not important. So here's what I know. It just depends on you. If you weigh yourself and it triggers a massive emotional slide, then I would say don't weigh it all the time. I'd rather you focus on your clothes. If you could see the scale as information, that's how I see it. It's information. It tells me, okay, you're up a little bit, you're down a little bit. Okay, great. It's information. Keep doing what you're doing. No, let's change things up a bit. Then it gives me that information. I see it as information. It doesn't rule my day. It just doesn't. I had to train myself to say this is the scale or my weight is a reflection of my thoughts and my actions. And so this is just showing me information. But if it dictates your mood, I want you happy. I want you inspired. I want you feeling good. So maybe going from every day to every other day is a better strategy. Or every 2 days is a better strategy for you. Or knowing that, whoa, weekends are crazy. So, and then you weigh yourself on Monday and you feel like crap. Maybe you weigh on Tuesday or Wednesday and Friday. Let's be good about and thoughtful and intentional about what it is that you need. From a heart standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, from a physical standpoint. Okay, so 2 measurement types at least. Notice what in terms of weighing every day. I'm not going to do it every day if it triggers you like crazy. If it doesn't, if it's just information, fine. I know a ton of naturally thin people who also go to the doctor's office. They ask to turn around because they just don't care. They don't want to attach any meaning to the scale. They say, yeah, that's fine. Weigh me, but I'm going to turn around because I don't want to see the number. And they're thin and they're light because for them, it still has a psychological attachment, an emotional attachment, and they don't want to see it. They're like, I'm doing everything. I'm doing right. I'm feeling good. I'm not going to look at that scale. Okay? So I think it really just depends on you and what you need and what happens when you step on that scale, okay? So it's so individual, it's so personal that it's not a one-size-fit approach. It's much of my work is not a one-size-fit approach, right? Because we're dealing with you and your relationship with food, and that is 100% unique to you. Let me see. I want to... let's see. The main thing I want you to do is make sure that your identity is not connected with the scale. And I want to make sure that you're not making yourself be the scale, be fat. Your identity is so much bigger than that. And so if you are doing that, if you're saying, I'm fat, no. Some of your behaviors that you've been engaging in are not working and they're showing up as a bigger you. So let's work on those behaviors. Let's work on the mentality of your thoughts so that you can start to lose weight. But if you are only focused on your weight, you're missing all these other beautiful parts of your identity that you're not focused on. And that's not okay. It's never okay. You are so much more. So stop just narrowing in on your thighs, on your stomach, on the scale. I want it to be broadened out. Okay, let me answer your questions. I wanted to spend 20 minutes or so diving into this, really discussing this, and really giving you a different vantage point to think about your weight and to think about the scale and to think about how you are being and your identity around the scale, as well as not only your identity, but as it relates to looking at the scale in an entirely new way. So it doesn't have power over you. It just is information. And the biggest takeaway I want all of you to get is that the scale, if it's going up, it's a reflection of your thoughts and or your behaviors, just a few of them, not all of them, just a few of them that need tweaking. Okay? So let's look at some questions that you might have. Feel free to write in the chat box what it is that you want me to address, or if you have worries or concerns or an area you want me to tackle, I am happy to do that. You realize, hi, Miss Karen, good to see you. Happy to see you. I realize, Miss Eva, you say that the scale scares you. If you are attaching energy and emotion to the scale, that will scare you. If you're obviously attaching negative energy to the scale, then it will scare you. It'll be worrisome. You will feel anxious when you step onto it. And you might notice that you avoid the scale altogether. And that is 100% fine. What I will say is I think having measurement tools like your clothes, like a measuring tape, they're important to help you see your progression. They're helpful to see how you're progressing emotionally, mentally, physically. And celebrating when you are saying, wow, this shirt didn't used to fit me. Now it fits me great. It's falling off me now. So having a way to measure your progress, and it doesn't always have to be physical, by the way. It can be mental. It can be, wow, I'm saying such kind things to myself now. I'm seeing and recognizing every single day what I'm doing to improve my body, my self-esteem, my self-worth, my confidence. It can look absolutely like that. So I want to turn the scale from being fearful and looking at, why does it scare you? What are you making it mean that's scary? Versus it's just information. And it's just telling you information. You may not love the information it tells you. I get it. But you also don't have to allow it to scare you. It's just information, and it's helping guide some behaviors and some thoughts. But if you just rely on it, like that's why the BMI drives me actually crazy, because you can have somebody who is somebody who works out constantly, has tons of muscle on their body. They go and they use the BMI and it's going to tell them they're obese, where they're actually in really great shape because they have, a 20% body fat or 19% body fat, and they are just boof. So that's why the BMI drives me crazy, because I don't think it's a very accurate tool for everybody. And so I like having things like my clothes, like the scale, and like measurement. You can use fat measurements too, and you can use calipers. You can use body fat as a different way. I'm fine with that. But having a few ways, it really can help you. And then one of the things to think about too is it motivating? Like, it was motivating for me every single week to try on those pants. And sometimes my friend's pants that I was trying on because I wanted to get into her littler size, sometimes they were the exact same, and it was okay. I didn't make it mean anything. I just kept doing it. And I would know I was going to do it, which inspired me to keep doing what I was doing, listening to my body and taking action on what I was learning from the Naturally Thin. That was inspiring to me because I knew it was different. And I knew the more I listened to my body and moved my body and took care of my body and listened to it, the more what I was saying is I was fitting into a smaller size clothes. I was fitting into those smaller pants. And it wasn't every single week that I was like, woo, it took time. It took time. And I will tell you that I've seen it thousands of times now where sometimes you fit into the clothes and the scale doesn't show anything. The other thing I want you to think about is some of you have hundreds of pounds to lose and some of you have 20 pounds to lose. And so you will see the percentage of your body weight being lost looks different. I think a really, really normal, healthy, great way to think about weight loss is 1 to 2 pounds a week. That is very healthy. I like to err on the side of 1 pound. And so little by little by little. Now, some of you have blown that out of the water. Some of you are right on track. It doesn't matter. It just is what it is. It's how your body is shaking off the weight. And that's perfect. It's perfect. You need to have a come to Jesus moment, come to yourself moment, whatever moment, to say, okay, I know these are behaviors that I really am excited to work on. I know there's some behaviors that if I just make a couple tweaks, I'll start seeing the scale go down, and that will feel good. Sometimes you just need to come in and get real with yourself. And my podcast yesterday was really good at giving you those 4 steps that you can do to start coming into yourself to get clear and really connected with yourself about, okay, what's actually happening here. And then the scale isn't this big shock when I say to myself, wow, it's been a week where I've really overeaten. Hasn't been my best week. So then am I shocked when the scale's a little bit up? No, it doesn't shock me. I just then get into action about, okay, what can I take? What action can I take to move my body and my mind in the direction that I want it to move in? I'm listening to my body. I'm really kind to myself in my thoughts, and I celebrate when I can do more things physically and emotionally. I think this is really awesome, and so much happier this way than the other ways of weight loss. Yeah, I'm so glad. I am so happy to hear that. Because it's a loving way. It's a real way to lose weight for the long term. If you lose weight by doing something crazy that your brain hates, do you think you're going to rebel against it? You think you're going to have some resistance against it? You think that's going to create long-term weight loss? Why does weight loss have to equal punishment? It doesn't. It just doesn't. It just doesn't have to equal punishment. It can equal adjustments of thinking, adjustments of feeling, adjustments of behavior. But those behaviors that you adjust should always be things that you want to do, not what a diet program is telling you to do. Now, if a diet program, let's say, is telling you to do something and you're in total agreement and you're in alignment, fine. That's totally different than being in a resistance. Like, you've got to know that this is something you can do and feels good for a long time. Like, it's got to be a lifestyle. It's got to be a way of being, and knowing that lifestyle might look different as your lifestyle changes, as you change, as you shift, things are going to look a lot different. But when it comes from force or bullying or mentally beating yourself up, you get exhausted. And when you get depleted mentally and emotionally, you turn into, your fight or flight response turns on. Your lizard brain, you go into that lizard brain modality, the survival mechanism gets turned on, and you binge, or you overeat, or you stop caring until you care again, and you don't know when that'll be. It could be tomorrow morning, or it could be 3 months from now. So that's why it's got to be something that's doable, realistic, and enjoyable for you so that you want to do it. And the celebration comes into this. If, let's say, you don't want to eat late at night and you go, okay, I'm going to work on this. Okay, I'm going to work on this. Yes, I really want to do it. Even though I know this is a little bit hard, I'm going to work on it. Okay, and you don't eat late at night. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. The worst thing you can do is like, say, I'm not going to eat late at night. You do that. You go on, step on the scale and you go, it didn't reflect my not eating late at night. It's too soon. It's too quick for that behavior to show up yet on the scale. So stop it. The best thing to do is like, go to your calendar in the morning and be like, woohoo, star. I did awesome last night. I'm so proud of myself. When I get 3 of those times, I'm going to get myself a nail polish. I'm going to get myself some new undies. I'm going to get myself a new robe. I'm going to do something to celebrate the behavior that I want to change. And don't let the scale take you out of the game. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to your mind. And it doesn't reflect the behavioral shifts that you're trying to make. It's okay that it doesn't reflect yet on the scale. It will. It will. There's no way you can go from eating late at night to not eating late at night and not see a shift at some point in the scale or your clothes or your body. It has to shift. It just does. But if you're expecting that shift to be immediate, let's give it a little space. Let's give it a little time, and let's give it a little love and patience so that you can actually see those results show up without forcing those results or then backing off those results and being like, see, didn't show up on the scale. So might as well just eat late at night because it doesn't seem to matter what I do. And I know some of you have been doing that because I've been reading your posts. So let's change that. Let's give it some space. Let's give it some time. Let's give it some love, okay? Because you deserve it. So be kind to yourself. I want you to now look at the scale in a new way. Know that it's information for you about your thoughts and behaviors. Some thoughts and some behaviors. Not all your thoughts, not all your behaviors. But then if the scale's going up a little bit, you can go, okay, what is a thought or behavior I want to believe about myself that will help support me? And what's a behavior that I want to take action on that's doable, that I'm going to take action on today, that I'm going to be consistent with for the next 3 days. And then I'll see how that is showing up on the scale. And if it's not showing up on the scale yet, but I'm totally proud of the work I'm doing, I'm going to keep being patient with myself and the scale and keep focusing on what I'm proud of doing. Focusing on what I'm doing. That's wow. That's right. That's great. Okay? So what else? Anything else before we go? If you are on the phone, feel free to hit *2. That will raise your hand and I'll know that you have a question. And for those of you who are on, any questions that you have about the scale, about measuring, about not making it your identity, not making it mean anything terrible about you, about different measurement types, how to weigh. All right, I think we exhausted the scale today, figuring it out. But it's really, really important. I get questions all the time about the scale, how much to weigh, how much not to weigh. Like I said, the naturally thin, there's a huge varieties. And so I say it just matters how you relate to the scale. And if you can just relate by having it be just information for you and see it as information, you're going to be much happier, much healthier. You're not going to beat yourself up all day long. And don't forget, how you show up as the scale is going down is how you will show up when you get down to your ideal weight. And I want to make sure that when you get down to your ideal weight, you're celebrating. You feel good. You're empowered. Your thoughts have shifted. Your beliefs about yourself are in the positive. Okay? Because it doesn't change when you lose weight. If you're focusing on the negative as you're coming down, you're going to focus on the negative when you're at your ideal weight. If you're learning and practicing focusing on the positive and what you're doing that's working and positive thoughts and beliefs about yourself, then you better believe when you lose weight and get down to your ideal weight, you're going to feel like you just come home to a thinner you. And your beliefs are in check, your thoughts are in check, your relationship with the scale feels good, and so do you. All right? So I hope that really helps you today. Big hugs to all of you. Take really good care of yourself, and I'll see all of you next week. All right, everybody. Bye.